Brighten up those dark mornings. Wheeler, Ollie, and Lecter. Mornings at the Cabin.
Mornings at the Cabin, indeed. Wheeler, AJ, and Lecter, as Ollie continues to be in self-isolation, which is fine.
Yep.
Happy Thursday?
He went to the grocery store, though.
Yeah.
It's not self-isolation.
Well, I mean, it is. You can still go to the grocery store.
Can you?
Yeah, I think.
I don't
right?
think you can.
I have no idea.
Else to...
I got into an argument yesterday with people. Like, there was this story out of Calgary. So you know what Hawks is, right? Which is the police helicopter that goes around the city.
Oh, okay.
They found a strange gathering, so they hovered over it, and it turned out to be like a group of ladies doing like a dance party. They had their cars parked in a circle, and they were inside the circle.
Oh, I saw the video of that.
Yeah, and everyone was like, "Oh, how fun!" It's like this is literally what we're told not to do. And everyone's like, "Get over it." I'm like, "No, just stop doing. I know it's fun. We all want to get out there." And people were like, some guy said, "Get over it," and I can't get over that. I can't do it.
Get over it.
Yeah, get over it. It's just a pandemic, guys.
One thing before we continue.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. I said Thursday.
You did.
Oh,
I did say Thursday.
It's
that
Wednesday.
even slipped by me.
Not this guy.
No.
No.
Gotta wake up early in the morning.
Everybody, shut up.
Sorry.
I did want to touch on something before we started because I got a 3-pack coming up. We'll make the intro go a little longer here. I put a stop on it. I got a 3-pack to start the show. John Prine 3-pack. We lost John Prine yesterday.
Oh.
He had been suffering from COVID-19, was in intensive care for 13 days, but looked to be recovering.
Right.
But passed away yesterday due to complications. And I mean, he was once considered one of the new Dylans with Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen tweeted out that he was like immensely heartbroken. I've been seeing so many Instagrams and Facebook posts and tweets and all these things that like an absolute giant in the singer-songwriter category is gone. 73 years old, not even that old, and passed away yesterday. Admired by Bob Dylan, Chris Christopherson, all these legends. And like John Prine is very, very well known, but like is not like a mainstream guy like a Dylan or a Springsteen. And everybody knows him, and everybody admired him. So I got a couple of songs here for John Prine. I only discovered John Prine about less than 10 years ago. My mother put on a song. She said, "Listen to this guy. I've been listening to this guy for years, and you've never heard him. Listen to this guy." She put on "In Spite of Ourselves," which is one of his classics. Absolutely fantastic song. And I mean, there's not much to say. He was a beast. He was an absolute legend in music. Some fantastic songs. I'm still discovering them. People in Yellowknife, though, a lot of sharing going on. Unky Lorne shared. Charlotte Moore Jacobs shared. A lot of people that we
Jimmy
know.
T.
What's that?
Jimmy T.
Jimmy T.
He was supposed to see him live.
There you go. I mean, a lot of people feeling it today, probably listening to some Prine today. So if you haven't heard any John Prine, I got a couple for you. And if you have listened to John Prine, hopefully these will make you smile a little bit. It's one of those things where you lose someone that you've connected to the music so deeply, and it's a huge loss.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast.
Believing is living is just a hard way to go.
Mornings at the Cabin. That was Bonnie Raitt and her cover of "Angel" from Montgomery, John Prine tune. Yeah, it's one of those covers that where the original artist was like, "Yep, you kind of own that one." So that's right. It's not like I don't think he stopped playing it or anything like that, but it's like that.
Just throws up his hand.
You know
what?
It's what Nine Inch Nails did when Johnny Cash hit Hurt. When Johnny Cash did Hurt. Basically, Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails said, "Yeah, that's your song."
Just threw a temper tantrum.
Basically,
fine, John.
Yeah,
you got everything. Here's one more thing.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean that's reasonable.
No, it's fine. Seems fair to me.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, John Prine, a career that spanned 50 some odd years, had his like his most successful album came out 2 years ago.
Oh, crazy!
Wow. After 13 years, he hadn't done any new material, and then he released The Tree of Forgiveness in 2018, and it debuted at number 5 on the Billboard Hot 200, which was his biggest debut ever. And like I said, kind of underground for most of his career, but admired by a lot. And that seems to be the thing, right? Like the best artist you've ever known admire somebody, not just John Prine, but admire someone maybe you've never heard of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's who influences them, and that's how he was admired throughout music. What do you got here? Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame, 2-time Grammy winner, Songwriter Hall of Fame, like overall Songwriter Hall of Fame.
But still not that Rock and Roll Hall nod, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Still not the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, even though Run DMC is, which is fine.
Hey, that's okay.
I'm okay with that. It's just weird that a hip hop artist is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at all.
That's fine.
It makes sense. This morning's show brought to you by Dragon Toner Law, and they are celebrating 10 years by supporting Yellowknife community groups. And this month, Dragon Toner is supporting the YWCA, and you can find out more about how the YWCA is helping people throughout the NWT through the pandemic. We'll have Elena Ward from the YWCA on the show at around 8 o'clock. We'll give her a call, and we'll talk about just what the YWCA is doing right now to support people throughout this pandemic. And, well, congrats to them. The Dragon Toner is giving away $1,000, and there it is. They're giving it to the YWCA.
Continue this awesome promotion they're doing.
Absolutely.
And, so I guess 8 more $1,000 prizes are up for grabs.
Absolutely. Yeah, to celebrate their big anniversary. So thank you to them, and we'll talk to Elena a little bit later on. Some good news regarding whoa, that slipped a little too close to Bill Cosby. Regarding COVID-19, Wuhan, the epicenter of the entire outbreak, has ended its 76-day lockdown. Yay! There is light at the end of the tunnel, unless Alberta just keeps effing around like they do. That's the thing, right? If we take this seriously now, then maybe we get to have a summer. Right?
Yeah.
76 days.
That'd be lovely.
Just shy of 3 months for the epicenter, the massive outbreak that happened in Wuhan, in Hubei province that's a 76-day lockdown. So if that's the model for everywhere else.
Yeah.
Italy is past the peak. Apparently, they've gone down in deaths for the 5th straight day.
Well, they'll still need to monitor Wuhan.
Of course,
right?
no, absolutely.
If it breaks out again, then we go, oh, great.
But
now
under
what do we do?
strict lockdown, which is like people are allowed to leave their house for food and things that were deemed absolutely necessary. Now, absolutely necessary by the Chinese government is going to be very, very necessary.
Oh, yeah. Like they welded doors shut of apartment buildings.
Like right now, we're still kind of in the Ontario model, which is, this is a list of essential workers. It's basically everyone.
I saw a picture of a guy in a Dairy Queen costume saying, how am I an essential worker? And like and I mean,
uniform, AJ.
Respect the uniform. Ladies love a man in uniform.
If you have a mask, it's
even
not
if it's
a uniform.
an ice cream uniform. And that's the thing right now. I mean, like I think it's a really difficult thing to do, obviously, to decide who's essential and who's not, because you don't want people to lose their jobs.
Right.
Of course.
So that's what the emergency benefit is for. That's what EI is for. A lot of people don't qualify for EI. There's some people who don't qualify for EI or the emergency benefit and have no income, which somehow just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how you don't qualify for the emergency benefit.
So Caroline last night on COVID Corner addressed the students coming back.
Yeah.
Because their EI is their SFA is going to run out.
Yeah.
And they most likely don't qualify for EI because
of course, because they haven't worked 700 hours in the past year.
And they're not going to get hired anytime soon, seeing as there's no businesses open. Mm-hmm. So she didn't go into specifics, but she did say there is something coming out for them.
Okay.
Because, and she said that's been a huge priority. She has kids of her own. So when this all started, that was one of the first things that she thought of. So that is something that she's taken to all the premiers across Canada and the Prime Minister. So she was saying that the Prime Minister should be coming out with something in the next week or so for those students.
I don't like it.
You don't like education?
No, I love education. I just think the kids can stay at home. No, that's good. That's good. I mean, everybody needs to be covered. Everybody needs to be thought of and looked after. I mean, that's the whole ever-loving point, is that we pay all these taxes in order to take care of people. Education, healthcare, basic universal income, which Spain is rolling out and they're hoping to keep forever. This has shone a light on all those things and how important they are.
Yeah, and now the government's paying you to sit at home and watch Netflix. Yeah. Like, it doesn't get easier than this as far as pandemics go.
It doesn't. Remember,
I mean, I guess we don't have much to compare it to.
Yeah, I guess right. The last pandemic was a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, who was... What was it, 58 or 68 or something like that? Asian flu spread across the world as well. So, yeah, that's some good news. Wuhan, 76-day lockdown, done. I mean, yeah, it's still going to be strict, but I mean, that is the model.
Yeah.
If we can take something from that, it's like, okay, that's strict lockdown for 2.5 months. We're kind of on loosey-goosey, kind of, we'll see how it plays out kind of lockdown. We're not really on lockdown at all.
We're a lot stricter than the States.
We're a lot stricter than the States. States is tough. I mean, they are not handling it well, but also they have 380 million people that like believe it's their right to do whatever the hell they want, whenever the hell they want, regardless of who it hurts. So that's kind of their whole attitude that's been built from the day the inception of the country is that we're going to do whatever we want and damn all yours.
So they're right
enemy.
on course, basically,
exactly.
according to the numbers.
Yeah.
This is an enemy they can't nuke, so they're a little bit
Oh,
lost.
do not underestimate the U.S.'s ability to think they can nuke
There it
anything.
is.
There it is.
We found it.
Got to nuke something, AJ.
Gotta
It's
nuke
true.
something. I mean, what you could do is just round up every infected person, put them in one building, and blow it up. That'll take care of it.
Don't even suggest that.
Oh,
That's-
believe me, it's already been written on a whiteboard somewhere in the Pentagon. So light at the end of the tunnel. That's good. Remember, keep doing what you're doing, being safe, isolating, washing your hands, all that good stuff. And then we might get to have a summer. Yay!
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast was recorded before a sort of live, thankfully not in the studio, audience.
Mornings at the Cabin, Winter Sleep, America, Folk on the Rocks. Last year. Absolutely fantastic show. That song in particular sounded very much like the recording. Absolutely took over the entire space that we were in. Beautiful stuff.
I will say their encore was a little obvious, though.
Well, yeah, it's Weighty Ghost.
I know, but that was it. Like, you didn't play Weighty Ghost. Of like, okay, of course you're coming out for an encore. Like, that's the song
I didn't
we're all
think they
here
were going to play
yeah.
Weighty Ghost. And then, bam!
Oh, I can't
First
believe they just
encore.
left like that. Of course you're coming back out. It's a big song.
I remember standing there when they started playing it, and Kat McGurk and I had mentioned that, like, well, they're going to play Weighty Ghost at some point. And then they played it second encore. We kind of looked at each other. Yeah.
Called it.
That's the song that everybody knows.
I wish they hadn't played it.
Why not?
Leave them wanting more.
You don't do that when they're only in town for the night.
It's one of the rules of showbiz.
Yeah, when they're
Leave 'em
when
wanting
they're
more.
probably never coming back.
They might.
They won't.
You never know.
I do.
50th anniversary, maybe?
Ah.
We're going to stretch
Well, not with that attitude. They're not going to come back.
That's right. You know what? Winter Sleep, you stay out of here.
Whoa.
I threw it down.
Whoa.
I threw it down.
Jeez.
Speaking of arguing over the mundane and stupid,
That might have been your best transition
best.
ever. That was
best
great.
segue ever.
Let's hear it.
So yesterday, Ollie wrote a story, put up a story at cabinradio.ca that Premier Cochrane has become the MACA minister to lead the pandemic response. Now, a lot, so the first couple comments, good move, needed to be made. Like she's taking the lead, basically, right? Municipal and community affairs, she's taking the lead, and kind of saying the buck stops at me.
Also, a lot of comments not
well,
echoing
I was
that
going to get
sentiment.
to. Yeah, a few comments saying, that what it's a bad move, blah blah blah, and whatever. We're not going to get into that. What we'll get into is the writing of MACA versus MACA. So now MACA is, of course, it's an abbreviation for municipal and community affairs. Now, abbreviations or abbreves or abs, normally all capitalized, right? As in MACA, M-A-C-A, because you capitalize each one to kind of denote that it is an abbreviation. Yeah. Now,
Right.
in the writing, it's MACA, M-A-C-A, little a, little c, little a, and one reader took exception and said it's MACA, M-A-C-A, big capital letters, not MACA, capitalized M, all the others uncapitalized.
Now, would the difference of that be?
49 comments under that comment, including some from our own Ollie Williams, just kind of going back and forth about the feedback he was receiving about it.
Yeah.
And it didn't get nasty. It got a little condescending.
It heated up.
Yeah.
It did it heated
Passionate.
up a little bit. Passionate.
I didn't think people were
Yeah.
so into their acronyms.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, there's what we were kind of, as we're reading through it with a lot of okays, which is a really terrible way to start a comment in Facebook. Okay, whatever. That's always
Especially
super
with three
condescending.
M's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, Cool. Awesome. Is that what we've kind of... We won't go into a lot of the comments there. You can go read them on the Cabin Radio NWT Facebook page. It's pretty entertaining. Is that how bored are people right now?
That's the big question.
That's the big question.
real
Like,
question.
a lot of these people are probably, working from home. And I mean, like if I was working from home, I'd be taking big swaths of the day off. You know what? I'm going to take lunch from 9:30 to 5, and then I'll do my work. So I don't know how busy some of these people are, but there's definitely a lot of comments about basically semantics. Like it's Maca or Maca. We knew what he meant. Although I will say this, when I saw it, I was like, that's weird.
Oh, you thought it was weird too?
Well, because I'd not seen an abbreviation with uncapitalized.
Well, that is the Cabin Radio style.
It's the new style.
And actually,
It's a new style.
Well, not new. I mean, it's relatively new, seemingly, because I mean, even like someone shared a BBC article about
Adapted
FIFA.
from the BBC.
Adapted from
This
the BBC.
style
Exactly.
originated in,
Yeah, absolutely, and it's part of the BBC, whatever it is. We'll talk to Ollie about.
I didn't know we had a style guide, so that was new to me.
he just made it.
He
Yeah.
just made.
Well,
it.
I mean,
Yeah,
he had his own style guide, but he
as
literally
he
just
was
created
reading
one.
the comments, he's like,
Oh, God.
"People stepping away on a style guide. Here's our style guide. It's been set in stone since day one."
If
But
you cared to look around on the page,
he
you would
references
have
the
found
BBC style guide, and someone shared a BBC article about FIFA. And now FIFA is an acronym for the Federation of International Football Association or something. I don't know.
It's probably pretty close.
Yeah, and I mean, right? It's FIFA. It's like we take money for soccer.
Yeah.
And it's in BBC. It's been capital F, little I, little F, little A.
Yeah.
Whereas been previous to be capital F, capital I, capital F, capital A.
Yeah.
So there's a changing in the guard or a changing in the in how we do things.
So not that I want to really jump into this,
Now get
But here
into
you
it.
go.
Get into
but
it.
I'm totally on the side of Ollie because
Well,
when
there's
it's
a
when
big
it's yeah, little bias, but when it's turned into a word like FIFA, it's
Yeah.
not like BBC is the letters
Yes.
BBC.
Yeah.
Right.
FIFA is now a word,
Yeah.
and it's very commonly
And
used.
Maca is a
and
word.
Maca is a word, and
Yeah.
it's very commonly used.
Yes.
So in that, I was like, no, that makes sense to
Yeah.
me. It's not MACA. If you were to refer to it as MACA,
Right.
then that would make sense, all capitals.
Like
cap
the
it up.
YMCA or
But
the Y.
When it's a word,
WMCA.
cap it down.
I see where you're coming from.
See,
That's
that's
right.
that was my.
I like that.
And
Yeah.
you know how I know I was bored?
You
'Cause
read.
I got
every
into
one.
it, and I really thought about this.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. I mean, the former MLA Adrian Bell chimed in.
Oh, wow.
It got across
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of people.
It's a pretty good conversation, too. A lot of people are like, well, here's an example. I found an article on BBC. Okay, that was the exception because at this time,
Yeah, exactly.
there's
I
a lot
mean,
of information in this
Which,
thread.
you know what? And which is great. And like the second last comment of the entire thread is like, you know what, Cabin Radio? I didn't know I needed this conversation today, but I'm for it. So this is one of those things. Like, how much time do people have on their hands, and how passionately can they defend something like this?
And it's on an article where our premier
It's just
booted
like,
out a minister and
I'm taking-
stepped in. That's
Yeah.
a pretty big
It's
news
a huge
story.
story, and the biggest part of the comment section is like, whoa, listen, Maca is a word, and it's an abbreviation. So I think we can all agree to crack each other's heads open and feast on the goo inside, Ollie. But go check it out. It's pretty entertaining. Cabin Radio NWT Facebook page. Check out the story at cabinradio.ca. Of course, there's a link to it on the Facebook page as well. And follow cabinradio.ca for all the news that's fit to print. Well, not print, but put up on the internet.
I wish Ollie had asked Caroline last night on COVID Corner the question.
Is it Maca or
Is it
Maca?
I'll cap it up or cap it down?
Cap it down? Cap it up.
Hashtag cap it down.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast.
Today's show brought to you by Dragon Toner. They're celebrating 10 years by supporting Yellowknife community groups. This month, Dragon Toner is supporting the YWCA NWT, and you can find out more about how the YWCA is helping people in the NWT through the pandemic. And to do some of that, we've got Elena Ward on the line. Elena, welcome to Mornings at the Cabin. Thanks for joining us. Hello?
Elena?
Oh, there she is. Hey. Hey, Elena, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks
Okay.
for having us.
Absolutely no problem. So you got to be pretty stoked. Dragon Toner has been supporting community groups here, and your third recipient?
Second recipient.
Second recipient
Yeah.
of their $1,000 that they're giving away every month. And so tell us a little bit about the support from Dragon Toner for the YWCA.
Well, it was great. We did Obviously, families are going through a really tough time right now and will be in the months to come. And it's been really amazing. We put a call out and saying, looking for some help. Families really need food. And right away, Dragon Toner, I got an email from them saying, hey, would love to help out. We're donating $1,000 a month in celebration of our 10th anniversary. Where can we drop off the grocery gift cards, basically?
Nice.
So they just contacted us right away, and the community response itself has been amazing.
So they gave you $1,000. You're going to divvy that up into 10 different gift cards to help out families that are being that are using YWCA services right now. How many people is the YWCA helping out right now?
Well, it's we have lots of different families and clients. I mean, last year alone, we helped over 140 families, over 200 kids. So at any time, they are welcome to contact, and lots, probably around 100 have contacted.
Okay.
That being said, it's not even just YWCA clients. Like, people are being referred. We don't turn anybody away. Like, it takes a lot for someone to say, like, hey, I need help. I need food.
Of course.
So no one's turned away, and we've helped a lot of people now. I mean, I don't know the exact number now, but I know for sure it's been over 100 families.
Okay. And have you seen you've probably seen an uptick since the pandemic has started of people relying on YWCA services?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's been a lot of people, as you know, Jesse, have lost their jobs very quickly. And these are people who were already just living paycheck to paycheck and barely kind of making ends meet.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of financial stress, people calling the office just to say, like, what are my options? And the Y staff has been working with them really closely just to try to keep people calm down and help them look at options, and then provide support and also financial support to buy things like groceries and essentials.
Absolutely.
So, Elena, obviously, this Dragon Toner initiative has been really cool. They're celebrating their 10-year anniversary, giving 10 donations of $1,000 to community groups. So, obviously, it's a good thing for you guys to get selected by them. But and I don't think anyone would, not that anyone would question any awards they're giving out to community groups, but certainly the YWCA in particular, I think, has proven itself invaluable numerous times in like the past couple years alone here in Yellowknife. So with that in mind, and with everything that's going on right now, what are a few of the things, like just off the top of your head, that people, if they're looking to make a donation to the YWCA and continue to contribute, what are some things you are in like desperate need for right now, or just some things that that you could really use, other than obviously money, or unless that's just the thing?
Well, you know what? If you say really, because the Y staff, I mean, we have amazing staff. We have some staff that have been with the organization for 20 years, 18 years, 15 years. Kind of a testament, like as you said, to the how dedicated these people are to their jobs. So really, money is the best thing, because that's something that can be easily used to buy gift cards for families. They can get supplies. Right now, because of the physical distancing limitations, we're not encouraging clients to drop in. Normally, they would drop in and access. We have a few really great food programs and food box programs, cooking programs, but they can't do that right now. So we would ordinarily be looking for donations for those types of things. But right now, because of the physical distancing limitations, really, to people who want to donate, they can go to our Canada Helps online page or our Facebook page and make a donation. And note that money will be freed up right away for families who need it.
Oh, perfect. So, sorry, Canada Helps websites or the YWC NWT Facebook page for donations. And okay, perfect. That's great. That's my next question was exactly how can people help, and you bottled the edge right there. It's money is the easiest thing to do right now. Or I mean, would a gift card help as well? Like if we got a gift card from Co-op and sent it to you, that'd be good as well, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah, and people have been doing both. We have had quite a few donations come in online because, again, people want to maintain that physical distancing but still want to contribute to help people out, and it's been really incredible. But there's also been people that said, like, we did this online fundraiser and have bought some gift cards when I was at the grocery store. Hey, can I drop them off? So they might pop them in the mail.
Okay.
seems kind of funny when you live just down the street to put them in the mail, but or when people have contacted our housing office too, and some of the housing staff, because they're pretty essential right now, they're still in the office. So some people have dropped them off on the front steps, and so we'll find a way to get them where they need to go.
Absolutely, and that's you're doing incredible work. So thank you very much for doing that. How important? I mean, you said that the support has been there across the board. It's usually there. How important is it right now? And have you seen an uptick in that support?
Well, people have, whenever we have needed support from the community, it's always Yellowknife has really always stepped up. Mm-hmm. Like there's been times, as you know, that Wild has had some difficult things that have happened in the past year or two, and we put out a call, say, hey, we need help, and immediately we see the donations start to come in. So we have people who regularly donate monthly, which is fantastic and have done for years, but then we have, like, say, you know what, we need food right now, families are going through a rough time, and immediately we start to see the donations come in. So the support has been great, and it has been ongoing since this started. We still are seeing donations come in regularly. Like even this morning, I saw a couple come in, and which is fantastic because, I mean, by the looks of it, this is going to be support that families are going to need for quite some time.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the money goes pretty quickly. $100 a week for 100 families. That's and people are home more often now. They're feeding kids. So it's just that little of extra stress that we can help families out with.
Absolutely, and I mean that's the most important thing is just trying to lessen the amount of stress that's going on right now. I mean, even for folks who have good food security, there's still a lot of stress. So like taking away some of that extra stress for folks who are just trying to make ends meet is incredibly important. So thank you so much for doing that and for the continued work that the YWCA NWT does. Once again, how can people donate? And then we'll wrap it up.
You can donate at Canada Helps. Just look for the YWCA NWT page or visit our website, ywcanwt.ca, and click the Donate Now button.
Awesome. Elena, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Stay safe, stay healthy, and continue the good work. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, and thanks to Dragon Toner and everyone else.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast, where we cut out all the great music and you're left with the rest.
Joined by Ollie Williams on Facebook Messenger because Skype was being a jerk. Ollie, good morning.
Good morning. Am I not deep in the recesses of the Amber Mountains today?
I think you've poked your little head out of your hole and you saw a shadow and 6 more weeks of self-isolation. But you're out of the mountains.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, that's good.
We were just discussing overage charges, but we'll get into that in a little second. Wanted to talk to you about COVID Corner last night. You had Premier Cochrane on last night, and I watched a few little highlights, but AJ was mentioning how you weren't letting her get away with things, Ollie, and we appreciate that. But wanted to talk about what it means for her to take over. Is it Maca or is it Meka? Talk about her taking over Maca and just kind of what that means, and also her ask of the communities to not put up barriers. What's your take?
Well, first of all, I had to turn off the show this morning when you got to the part about talking about whether it's capped up or not. I couldn't take any more. So
you weren't done with that conversation?
Yeah, I like 50. That like what was that? Like a 50
40,
comments?
49 comments. Yeah,
nuts.
Yeah. I couldn't take any more of that.
Fair enough.
Let's move on. So there's 2 questions there. The first one: what does it matter to become Maca minister?
Yeah.
It essentially it doesn't mean that she now really has any sort of special powers that she didn't before. So it streamlines things a little bit. The argument that she is making is that the emergency structure that the NWT has always had for like when it declares an emergency, which it's never done before, is that all of the powers go to the Maca minister. And they'd been thinking about things like, a wildfire or some floods somewhere.
Yeah.
And Maca minister's going to need to do all this stuff. The emergency legislation had never really contemplated territory-wide pandemic. And so it didn't really make sense for the MACA minister to have all this stuff when really the premier needs it in a situation like this to get all of the departments working together and get stuff done when it's affecting the whole NWT. Is the argument that she is advancing, so it makes more sense for the premier to be the MACA minister, and then that centralizes all of that stuff in the person who you would expect to be in charge, who is the premier. And then the plan is to give that back at the end of the pandemic. So that is the reason that she is given for doing that, and that is effective yesterday. So today she's getting her first briefing from that department. She used to be the MACA minister for about 18 months between 2016 and 2018, so it's not entirely new to her. And the other point she made is that from her point of view, she's practically, I think she might even be the only person in cabinet with experience of being a cabinet minister for more than 5 months.
Yeah.
So therefore, like, makes sense from her point of view. I'm the premier, I'm the one with the experience of doing this stuff. Like, everybody else is brand new and they're trying to deal with a pandemic 5 months into this brand new job.
Yeah.
I'll just step in here and I'll take care of this. So that's what's happening there. When it comes to the blockades and the checkpoints and things like that, it's a really tricky area for the territorial government to find a voice in, because there's a reconciliation aspect to this as well, in terms of telling local First Nations, no, you can't protect your land and things like that. The reason the territorial government has to come out and say, hey, take down that checkpoint, is that local communities don't have the authority, really, in a situation like this, to start putting up checkpoints outside their communities. There are certain local measures that communities can take, but the territorial government ultimately holds the legal authority for that kind of thing, and the local communities don't. So if the territorial government doesn't pipe up at this point and say, hey guys, take those checkpoints down, then they're essentially quietly letting something that is technically illegal happen.
Yeah.
And that opens the door for communities to do more and more and more, to the point where then later on the communities could say, well, you let us do all this stuff, so we assumed it was okay. Yeah. And the territorial government needs to be able to say, no, we did not let you do the stuff. So it's a complicated thing. I don't think any of the communities particularly seem scared of the territorial government yet. I had to put up a checkpoint yesterday. Fort Resolution put one up last week. Yeah. Katla-Deche First Nations had one up since the middle of March. So I don't know how that's going to look. The Premier says she's going to go and have a conversation with those communities. Yeah. And if that doesn't work, then other measures will follow. We don't know what those other measures are. I suspect the NWT government does not know what those other measures are. I imagine they'll try not to have to get to that point.
I imagine so as well. So right now, just kind of like having it on record that we said don't do that.
Exactly. Yeah, we told you, please don't do this. Just so that later on, when communities try and do something else, they can at least say, hey guys, we said this.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense. And how are you doing this morning? I just always want to check in, make sure everything's okay.
Well, you looked after my truck yesterday, so I'm doing really well.
No problem. You have to pick it up yourself, though. No, I'm joking. I will make you do it. We'll figure out a way to get it to you. And you know what? And that goes for anybody. If and I'll put this out there. I'll put it out to you as well while I have you on here. Just anybody who's listening, if you have a vehicle issue that needs to be attended to, bring it in. If it can wait, let it wait. Just because we're kind of overrun right now. It's actually quite busy down in the service side. A lot of people bringing their stuff because it's just like
that's just a good time to get serviced, right?
Good time to get. I got nothing better to do.
Got a little downtime.
And I was thinking that Ollie was one of those people, but no. When I picked up his truck, oil service required, and there's a little sound coming from it as well.
Oh, hey.
So yeah, your truck needs a little loving.
Yeah, there was definitely a reason that truck needed to go in.
Absolutely.
This was not. I am not the kind of person that decides that because they got nothing better to do today to take their truck in for a service. That is not the kind of vehicle owner I am.
There are plenty of those. Don't worry about that. Okay. But just keep in mind that it's an essential service. The service side at the dealership and any mechanics and stuff like that. If it doesn't need to be done right now, then just let it wait. Yeah, I mean that's thank you for the update on and just some clarification on Caroline Cochran's comments last night and the comments about the blockades. You have Julie Green on tonight, is that right?
What do we?
That's what it says in the calendar.
I think she's sponsoring.
She's sponsoring.
Oh, sponsoring.
Yeah.
Pardon me. I thought you were speaking with her. That's my bad.
And
Take
actually,
it back for everybody.
Speaking of blockades, Ollie, what did you think of Carolyn's strategy for self-isolating when her kids came home to live in the same house?
So I will confess that I didn't fully follow her answer when she was giving it to me.
So I believe it was like a cardboard box fort.
She barricaded off like a trailer or something.
Yeah,
Was that
part of her
point?
trailer, yeah.
Yeah, I think she was saying she put a bunch of boxes up to basically section off her home so that her boys would be locked in their room essentially, and then she was just kind of prison style sliding a plate of food over to them every once in a while, and that was how she kind of got away from doing the 14-day isolation while they were home.
I mean, this is actually really interesting because people have asked this so many times.
Yeah.
If this person is self-isolating in my house, do I have to self-isolate too? And the answer is no, as long as they're genuinely isolated.
Mm-hmm.
The people, I think, have a very liberal interpretation of isolation. And there are some people who are like, oh yeah, we're self-isolating at home. And they're like curled up with their partner on the sofa each night who is not self-isolating. You're like, well, that's not self-isolation.
Yep.
You're not isolated at all. You're watching Friends together on the sofa. And
Which in and of itself.
Isolation means isolation. It means doing like what the Premier was describing, which is like, right, you guys, that side of the house is yours. I'm not coming there for weeks. I'm going to put the food here, back away from it.
Yeah.
You guys are going to pick the food up, and we're going to use different utensils for you guys. We're going to use different, spoons, forks, whatever. You guys are going to use that bathroom. I'm going to use this bathroom. We will never exist in the same space until your isolation is over.
And
that is isolation. If you could do that in a household, then you're okay.
And that's the big if, right? I mean, even if you are able to do it, imagine how remarkably hard it is to do that, especially for your kids that are maybe coming back from uni. You haven't seen them in a long time, but just putting someone in another section of your house and not interacting with them for 2 weeks has to be incredibly difficult. So her description of what she did, which I did listen to, kind of sounds like they're doing all they can, especially if you have a small house. There's not much you can do rather than put up a block, put up a screen or a wall or some kind of separation from that area of the house.
Some kind of checkpoint.
Some sort of
blockade.
There's the headline. Caroline Cochran wants communities to take down their blockades, okays them for her own house.
The contradictions continue.
No, I mean, it sounds like they're doing everything they can, and I imagine other people are trying to do as much as they can in a very difficult situation. So,
you make a really good point, which is that some people will have got into self-isolation. Their partners will be in the same house, their kids will be in the same house, and they will have taken the decision, you know what, I can't cope it just being me for 2 weeks, or the family's made a decision, look, this is ridiculous, and then we're all going to self-isolate together.
And most families have made that decision. We're all going to do it together. A lot have been obviously not given much of a choice but to do it, but I mean, that's kind of how it goes.
And then become stars on TikTok.
There you go.
I think that's
got to
the way it
become
works.
stars on TikTok.
It's the dream.
Yeah, that is the dream.
Even I have been contemplating that increasingly over the last few
Please
days.
do a TikTok, Ollie.
Do the blinding light stance. Do the blinding light stance, Ollie. That's my
I'm
request.
all over that. Hey, I saw there was a Cree guy who does like the hoop dances.
Yeah.
He did the blinding lights dance on TikTok with the hoops. It's
Amazing.
the best one I've seen.
Oh,
There you
cool.
go.
Best one I've seen by far. He was so good.
I'll check that out.
All right, we wait with bated breath for your TikTok release, Ollie. We cannot wait.
Yeah.
And now that you've
Everybody over the age of 35, 40 right now is just no clue.
I'm
what
over
any
the
of
age
this
of
means.
35.
I mean, that's if you can manage it in that tiny little one-bedroom apartment of yours, Ollie.
Yeah, for goodness sake.
Yeah, thanks Premier for that. Wow.
Called him out. Called him out for the one-bedroom apartment. It
Oh
was
my
awesome.
God. Amazing. Ollie, thanks for joining us. We look forward to another episode of COVID Corner tonight, sponsored by Julie Green, but not with Julie Green, as reported by me constantly throughout this morning. No, I only mentioned it the one time. Ollie, thanks so much. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye. Ollie Williams from outside the recesses of the Amber Mountains. He's tucked his head out, and it's a beautiful day. So get out there. Don't get out there. What am I saying? Stay
Stay in
safe.
there.
Stay healthy. If you do go out and walk the dog, stay away from people, for goodness sake. At least, you know what? It's not even 6 feet anymore. 10 feet, 20 feet. Just saying. An
A football field.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I think there's a New York Times article saying an MIT researcher is suggesting that COVID-19 could travel 27 feet and stay alive in the air for hours.
Mythbusters actually did like a sneeze. How far a sneeze?
And it went 12 feet.
Yeah,
a sneeze
12
went
feet.
12 feet.
Well, cover your mouth.
Yeah, cover your damn mouth. Who coughs or sneezes with their friggin' mouth
With
open
their
anymore?
back, really
Yeah.
arch it up.
Yeah.
Try and get some distance on this
Stop
sucker.
doing that, for goodness sakes.
Thanks for listening. Check out more from the show at cabinradio.ca and by following the Mornings at the Cabin Facebook page.